Good morning. Good morning. Thank you, Crispus Attucks, JROTC, soloists, Miss Olivia Phillips, and accompanist from Francis W. Parker School, number 56, Mr. Damon Smith, for that powerful opening to our 2017 program. I am Pat Payne, and we begin our celebration by giving total praise to the omnipresent spirit of our Creator and extreme gratitude to our ancestors and elders upon whose backs we stand. On behalf of the Indianapolis Public Schools, we welcome you to the 36th annual tribute to the distinguished life and legacy of the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King, Jr. And Dr. King said, and I quote, "When our days become dreary with low hovering clouds of despair, and when our nights become darker than 1,000 midnights, let us remember that there is a creative force in this universe working to pull down the gigantic mountains of evil, a power that is able to make a way out of no way and transform dark yesterdays into bright tomorrows. This faith can give us courage to face the uncertainties of the future. It will give our tired feet new strength as we continue our forward stride. This is why right, temporarily defeated, is stronger than evil triumphant." End of quote. Our program is televised from the historic Crispus Attucks Medical Magnet High School, where students, teachers, parents, grandparents, Crispus Attucks alumni, community activists, the IPS Racial Equity Team, and our community elders are gathered here in this sacred place to reflect, remember, and rejoice. And so now, please welcome to the podium a very special friend and colleague, the person who designed, produced, and filmed the Crispus Attucks story entitled Attucks, the school that opened a city. Welcome, Mr. Ted Green.
Thank you so much, Pat, or I should say, Dr. Payne. Dr. Payne, by the way, was the person who introduced me to the word shero. I kept talking about heroes from Attucks, and she kept saying, "Don't forget the sheros." I never will again, and that's exactly what Dr. Payne has been to me, my shero. The fact is, WFYI and I never could have done this documentary on this great school without Dr. Payne's help and encouragement, and most of all, her belief. We are all, like so many others, forever indebted to you, my dear friend. I am incredibly honored to be here today, celebrating one of the great groundbreakers, the great voices for peace and inclusiveness in our history. This man was taken from us when I was 1 year old. But I'd actually like to think I got to know him a little bit in the past couple years through the hundreds and really thousands of Attucks grads I had the privilege to meet while researching this film. I spent time in so many homes, big homes, little homes, nursing homes, and I could always count on two things: a big picture of the Obama family and a shrine to Dr. Martin Luther King, Jr. His spirit very much lives inside these brick walls, and certainly thanks to Dr. Payne and so many others, that spirit is here with us right now. Okay, let's get this show going here. I am extremely honored to introduce our first two speakers this morning, a couple of folks who work every day to fight for this community and push students to reach higher than themselves and aspire to the ideals that Dr. King embodied. First, we'll hear from Mary Ann Sullivan, the president of the IPS Board of School Commissioners, to be followed by IPS Superintendent Dr. Louis B. Farabee. And then we'll have a celebration and dance by the Broad Ripple Dance Magnet Program under the guidance of Directors Nicole Hargrove and Gregory Manning and Principal Dr. Weldon B. Williams III. So if you will, please join me in welcoming School Board President Mary Ann Sullivan.
Thank you, Mr. Green. Good morning, and thank you all for being here. I'm honored to have been recently re-elected president of the Indianapolis Public Schools Board of Commissioners. I take this honor to heart. I am proud to work with my fellow commissioners and with Superintendent Farabee to ensure that every IPS school is a high-quality school and every IPS student has an opportunity to achieve their dreams. A year ago, I was first given the privilege of speaking at this annual event. A lot has changed in that year. Standing before you then, I had no idea how different our world would be in just 12 short months. Perhaps at no time since his tragic death have the words of Dr. King become more significant, more insightful than they are right now, as we continue to seek a more peaceful world through our personal actions. What kind of person will create a more peaceful world? Dr. King advises us to cultivate a tough mind and a tender heart. I believe that good schools will help you develop both. Dr. King describes a tough mind as characterized by incisive thinking, realistic appraisal, and decisive judgment. He says it is sharp and penetrating, sifting the truth from the false. In a day where false news competes daily with authentic reporting, the ability to sift through lots of information, identify what is accurate, and correctly apply it to an issue has become increasingly important. Good schools will build tough minds, but only if students have the self-discipline and desire to take advantage of the academic opportunities available. Providing intellectually rigorous content and developing critical thinking skills is on us. Making the effort to study hard and think deeply is up to you. Our world desperately needs more tough minds. Your school should also help you develop a tender heart. A tender heart is not a weak heart, it is a powerful heart. Because as Dr. King says, hate cannot drive out hate, only love can do that. And he says love is the only force capable of transforming an enemy into a friend. Good schools build tender hearts by bringing us together in inclusive environments that respect the strength and beauty of diversity. But you as students must look for the best in each other and yourselves, or we will live in a world of cold indifference, full of violence and mistrust. Our world is crying out for more tender hearts. I do not know what challenges lie ahead in the next 12 months, but when I look out and see your beautiful faces, I see a better future. My job is to make sure that our schools prepare you for that future. So study hard and learn to love each other. Our country, our world, and needs each and every one of you if we are ever to see peace on this earth. Thank you for inviting me to share in this day, and please join me in welcoming our superintendent, Dr. Louis Farabee, to the podium.
Good morning, Christmas addicts. It is a pleasure to be with you this morning as I begin my commentary this morning as relates to our purpose. I'd like to begin with an essential question. That question is, what will you do for others? Dr. Martin Luther King once said, life's most persistent and urgent question is, what will you do for others? By now, you know, our purpose today is to celebrate and pay tribute to the life and legacy of the Honorable Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King. There will be many expressions today that I'm sure you will enjoy as we rejoice and celebrate Dr. King. But I also encourage you to take away from these expressions that you experience from his teaching the power in empowering and strengthening others. For I believe to truly realize peace on earth, it requires us all to give back to our fellow man. It requires us to serve those who have needs greater than ours. I remind you all, too much is given, much is expected. Whether you are a student, front row, balcony, teacher, administrator, or visitor, we all have a responsibility and obligation to serve our community. Again, as you experience our expressions today as we celebrate the life of Dr. Martin Luther King, begin to think about peace on earth, but also what will be your contribution and what you will do for others. As I close, I would want to honor Dr. Pat Payne. I would ask that all of us please stand and recognize her for her leadership in bringing this to us each year. You needed to get out of your seat, but we wouldn't have this precious gift each year without the leadership of Pat Payne, so we just want to pay tribute to her. As I close, would also like to recognize other Board of Commissioners for Indianapolis Public Schools that are present today. Would you please stand and be recognized? Thank you. Let's enjoy our program and let's serve.
Five score years ago,
a great
American signed and proclaimed, we know, the emancipation that brought a beacon light of hope. Plenty of slaves who had been seared called Negroes. The flame of injustice, and now 100 years have passed. And now today we must face a true and tragic fact. The Negro is still not free, and though impossible it seems, but I have a dream. The Constitution reads and gives the promise that all men be guaranteed pursuit of happiness, right of life and liberty. The check of independence, cash and decree. But it is obvious America's a fall. Thorn on his promises gave citizens of all. And now we must demand our right to be free. 'Cause I have a dream. I have a dream. A dream that one day black boys and black girls will join hands, white boys and girls, and we'll stand sisters and brothers.
I still have a dream.
Yes, I have a dream that one day mountains and hills be made low, and all the world is told the crooked been made straight, till His glory is seen. I have a dream
It would be fatal for the
to
nation
overlook the urgency of violence and wrong deeds. 'Cause I have a dream.
I have a dream.
Hey, I have a dream. A dream that one day
This nation will rise up.
nation will rise up and see the truth of this creed, and equal all men will be. They say I have a dream that one day, with a new meaning we will sing. My country gives up the sweet land of liberty. Ooh, freedom will ring, 'cause I have a dream.
Wow, how about that? Thanks so much to Commissioner Sullivan and Superintendent Farabee. And how about one more round of applause for the Broad Ripple Dance Magnet Program? Now, this is something I've really looked forward to ever since I learned I got to do this. The day after our premiere of the Addicts documentary at the historic Madam C.J. Walker Theater, we screened it right here for all of the students at Addicts. And then after that, we interviewed 4 of them to get their thoughts on what they had just seen. This young woman I'm about to call up was one of those 4 students. And she said something I felt was profound and perfectly captured what we were trying to get across. She said that after seeing the film, she wanted to be one of those faces on the walls. The faces in the graduation photos that line the halls here that go all the way back to 1928. She wanted to be one of those faces that people would look at years from now and say, wow, look what she was able to achieve. To my mind, she has already achieved it, and I cannot wait to see what becomes of her. That young woman is Taylor Hall. Hold up. I'm not done with you yet. I do believe I'll be working for her someday and proud to be doing it. She's a junior here at Crispus Attucks, and she will be introducing our keynote speaker, Dr. Kent Millard, president of the United Theological Seminary in Dayton, Ohio, also known to Taylor as grandfather. I'll let Taylor tell you more about this great man, but I can assure you that we're in for a treat with both of them. Ms. Hall.
Thank you, Mr. Green. Good morning. Greetings to all students, faculty, alumni, and distinguished guests. My name is Taylor Hall. I am a junior here at Crispus Attucks Medical Magnet High School. I am the junior vice president, a student ambassador, a member of the girls basketball team, and a part of the Indiana High School Athletic Association Student Advisory Committee. Today I have the pleasure of introducing the keynote speaker, Dr. Kent Millard. Dr. Kent Millard is the president of the United Theological Seminary in Dayton, Ohio. He was formerly the senior pastor of St. Luke's United Methodist Church in Indianapolis for 18 years. In 1965, during the Voting Rights March in Selma, Alabama, Dr. King invited seminary students from Boston University to join him in the march for voting rights. Dr. Millard accepted this invitation and participated in the voting rights demonstration in Selma of 1965. It is my honor to invite my grandfather, also known as Dr. Kent Millard, to the stage. Thank you.
Thank you, Taylor. What a privilege and honor it is to have you as a granddaughter. I am so pleased to be here at Crispus Attucks with this amazing history that's here and all the students and all the great things you're going to be doing. I just noticed in the newspaper today, if you saw the Indianapolis Star, headline says, IPS sees a big gain in graduation rate. The graduation rate last spring was 5% more than it was the previous spring. So congratulations. Why don't you congratulate yourself for that? And Dr. Farabee and Marianne Sullivan, we thank you for your leadership and your leadership as principal that has made this possible. And one of those graduates last spring that helped make this possible is my grandson, Taylor's brother, Jalen Hall. Jalen, would you stand up? He graduated from here last spring, played basketball, and what an honor to have two children who are graduating from Crispus Attucks. And I want to thank Dr. Payne very much for this invitation to be here, and an honor to have the chance to share with you my experience with Dr. King back in the 1960s. As I mentioned, for 18 years I served as a pastor at St. Luke's United Methodist Church, and now I serve as president of a seminary in Dayton, Ohio, which has about 440 students, about 20 different denominations and 12 different nations represented. Let me just do a plug. If any of you are thinking about being pastors or leaders, just give me a call. But I would like to tell to you about my experience when I was in seminary. I went to seminary at Boston University School of Theology in the 1960s. It was just a few years after Dr. King had graduated from Boston University with his PhD. And in 1965, Dr. King started the Voting Rights March in Selma, Alabama. At that time, African Americans were not allowed to register and vote in many places across the South. They were tax-paying citizens, but not allowed to register and vote simply because of the color of their skin. So Dr. King made that an emphasis, an injustice that needed to be corrected. And his plan was to march from Selma to Montgomery, 50 miles away, to present petitions to the governor of Alabama to change those laws so that everyone can register and vote who's a citizen of this country. If you saw the film Selma, did anybody see the film Selma? A lot of you did. Well, you know that was very accurate, because what happened is he tried to lead a group to Montgomery. They were met on the Elmer Pettus Bridge by Alabama state troopers, and they were beaten. One was killed. They tried it again the next week and were stopped again. And then Dr. King went to Washington, D.C. to talk to President Johnson to see if they could get federal troops to protect the marchers so they could march from Selma to Montgomery. And so during that week that he was negotiating with the president is when I went down to Selma to help in the march. In the end of the second march, Reverend James Reeb was a Unitarian minister from Boston. He had participated with Dr. King in that second march. He and a friend went to a cafe in Selma. They had dinner together. When they came out, Klansmen were waiting for them. They beat them with clubs. James Reeb had a brain hemorrhage and died a few hours later. Many of the out-of-town marchers left at that point. And that night, Dr. King called Boston University School of Theology, where I was in seminary, and talked to Dr. Harold DeWolf, who was his major professor. And he explained that he needed more marchers. And so Dr. DeWolf came to our class, and he said, Dr. King called, and we want more people to come down and march and stand with the people of Selma for voting rights. Dr. DeWolf explained that if you go on this march, there'll be no protection for you. In fact, the police will be against you. You were asked to do something that a man was killed for doing a few days ago. So this has to be an act of faith and courage. Well, for me, it became a challenge to my faith, because I thought, how could I ever ask people to take a risk for their faith, for what they believed, if when it came down to it, I couldn't do it myself? So I joined with about 25 other seminary students from Boston, got on a bus, went down to Selma. Now, when you marched with Dr. King, you had to go through nonviolent training. You see, he insisted that if someone treats you violently, you cannot treat them violently. If someone hits you, you cannot hit them back. It's called nonviolent resistance. And so I remember when we first arrived in Selma, we were at a church, and we were trained in nonviolent resistance. That is, we walked around a room singing civil rights songs. Trainers would push us and shove us and call us names, and you couldn't hit them back. You just kept marching and singing. And they said, now if someone hits you over the head with a club, go down on the ground, cover your head. And if you see someone being beaten, you jump on top of them. And someone else jumps on top of them. So everyone might get a few blows, but no one's beaten to death. Then they said, always march in pairs, link arms together, so that if they pull you out of the line, you won't go alone. Then we had a prayer, sang a song. They told us to pair up and march over to the courthouse. An African-American woman came over to me, and she said, Sonny, you look scared. I said, ma'am, I am scared after what they just told us. She said, you march with me and you'll be all right. So she and I linked arms together. And we started marching to the courthouse, about maybe 70, 80 people. As we got closer to the courthouse, the streets were lined with the Ku Klux Klan and other antagonistic people. They were shouting ugly things at us, throwing things at us. We just kept marching and singing. When we got to the courthouse, an African-American citizen of Selma would go up and try to register to vote. They would be turned away, simply because of the color of their skin. And then an amazing thing happened. An African-American pastor would offer a prayer on the steps of the courthouse. And first of all, he prayed for all those hateful people standing around us, shouting ugly things at us. He prayed that God would turn their hearts of hate to hearts of love, their hearts of stone to hearts of flesh. I was amazed. He was praying for them, that God would change their hearts. Then he prayed for courage and safety for the marchers. We had marched back to the church and do the same thing the next day. What ultimately happened was Dr. King was able to get the federal troops, and that next week they had a successful march from Selma to Montgomery, and it started a movement that passed the Voting Rights Bill of 1965, which declared every United States American citizen is eligible to register and vote regardless of race, creed, color, gender, national origin, or anything else. And it happened because Dr. King had the courage to start that. Now, jump ahead 40 years from 1965. In 2005, I was invited to go to Alabama to speak to a Methodist ministers' conference. There was about 250 Methodist pastors at a retreat. And they invited me to speak. Well, I told them that story I just told you. And after I finished speaking, a big white pastor came up to me. And he said, I was in Selma at the same time you were, but I was on the other side. He said, I did awful things to people. And he started crying. I said, what changed you? He said, God. I said, how? He said, well, I got so filled with hate, I couldn't stand myself. And so he said, my wife convinced me to go to a Methodist revival meeting. And at that revival, the pastor said, if you have any sins you want to confess, things that you have done wrong that you need to get off your chest and be forgiven, come forward and kneel. He said he went forward at that little revival. He confessed all the ugly things he had done in the past. He cried. It came out. He said it felt like the forgiveness of God came into my heart. And the love of Christ drove out all the hate in my life. He said, I made a decision that day to become a Methodist minister, to try to do something good for the rest of my life. to offset all the bad I had done in the past. What I realized is I remembered that prayer 40 years earlier. What did the pastor pray? Turn their hearts of hate to hearts of love, their hearts of stone to hearts of flesh. And I realized in this man's life that had become true. His heart, his life had been changed by the power of love. That experience of marching with Dr. King and marching in Selma had a powerful effect on my life. Now, that was in March of 1965. The next month, Dr. King came to Boston, and he was leading a fair housing march. In those days, there were places in big cities where African Americans could not buy homes, and we were protesting that. And the NAACP in Boston asked those of us who had been to Selma if we would be his bodyguards. So I was one of Dr. King's 20 bodyguards one day while he was in Boston. My assignment was to go down to Boston Common and be at the podium and to check it for safety. Now, I am not a bomb expert, so I'm not the best person to do that, but that's who did it. And eventually the marchers came, and Dr. King came up on the stage. He came over and shook hands with me. And he said, who are you? And I said, well, I'm a student at Boston University. Dr. DeWolf is my professor. And we had a conversation. He asked me how I liked seminary, where I was from. There are 5,000 people waiting to hear him speak. And I am an insignificant second-year seminary student from South Dakota, of all places. And he's taking time to listen to me. What amazing. But he asked me a question. The question was this: Mr. Millard, what are you going to do for civil rights in your ministry? It's a question he asked everybody. What it meant, what are you going to do to be inclusive? What are you going to do to preach love? What are you going to do to make a difference in this world? I think I said something like, everything I can. But the question has always haunted me. It's always been a part of my life. What am I doing every day to be inclusive of everybody? What am I doing to overcome hate with love? Dr. King once said, darkness cannot drive out darkness, only light can. Hate cannot drive out hate, only love can. And it had a profound effect on my life and my wife's life, and that may be one of the reasons that influenced us to adopt an African-American daughter to become an interracial family and name her Coretta after Coretta Scott King. My daughter's here. I'm going to embarrass her. Coretta, would you just raise your hand? Right there. And she's the mother of Taylor and Jalen. And she's been a huge blessing in our life, all our lives. She's a school social worker for IPS. But I want to end with that question for all of us. The question he asked me is what I want you to think about. What are you going to do for civil rights? What are you going to do in your life to bring peace on earth? What are you going to do when someone hates on you and you're going to love on them? How are you going to let love overcome hate? That's the message of Dr. King. That's the message for which he gave his life. And as his heirs and descendants, we need to carry that message on. When someone's mean to us, we're kind to them. He often said, don't be overcome with evil, but overcome evil with good, kindness, compassion. That's the message I'd like to leave with all of us today. What are you going to do to bring peace on earth? Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. It's been a joy to be with you today.
Wow. Thank you so much, Dr. Millard. Dr. Payne told me we were in for a treat, but I'd say she undersold that one by a little bit. And also, I don't think many of you were able to see what I was able to see, but while Taylor was up here speaking, I do believe I saw a little tear of pride there, perhaps, in grandfather's eye. All right, now I'd like to introduce the Clarence Farrington School Number 61 Choir under the direction of music specialist Sarah Huffaker and Principal Carol Wilson Fry, to be followed by student Sergio Calleja for introduction of Reverend Winterbourne Harrison Jones, the pastor at Witherspoon Presbyterian Church, for a message of youth. And after that, we'll hear from the Arlington High School Choir under the direction of Matthew Jackson and Principal Stanley Law. To start it off, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the Clarence Farrington Choir.
Good morning. Today is a privilege and honor to introduce to you today a fourth-generation minister, Reverend Harrison Jones. He holds degrees and professional certifications from Fisk University, Colgate Rochester Cruiser Divinity School, the Lilly Family School of Philanthropy, Harvard Graduate School of Education, Hertie School of Governance in Berlin, and is now a doctoral student at Colgate Rochester Cruiser Divinity School in Rochester, New York. As a scholar, author, and editor, Harrison Jones investigates how theological and homiletics resources within Christian traditions are valuable for interpreting and responding to such public issues as economic, race, religion, and structural inequality. Reverend Harrison Jones is a pastor of the historic Witherspoon Presbyterian Church here in Indianapolis, Indiana. Well, please give a warm welcome to Reverend Winterborn Harrison Jones.
Good morning, everyone. Come on, give Sergio a round of applause for that introduction. It is my honor to be here. Hey, black child, do you know who you are, who you really are? Do you know you can be what you want to be if you try to be what you can be? Hey, black child, do you know where you are going, where you are really going? Do you know you can learn what you want to learn if you try to learn what you can learn? Hey, black child, do you know you are strong? I mean really strong. Do you know you can do what you want to do if you try to do what you can do? Hey, black child, be what you can be, learn what you can learn, do what you can do, and tomorrow your nation will be what you want it to be. These hollowed words penned by the great hollow Renaissance poet Conte Cullen are intended to be a wake-up call and a rallying cry, not just for black children, but for all children. Yours are the hands of change and endless creativity. Yours are the minds that will bring about a brighter and more hopeful tomorrow. Yours are the feet that will lead us through these days that seem dark and treacherous. Yours are the voices that will sing new songs of prosperity and joy. And so, hey, black child, do you know who you are, who you really are? On your face, I see greatness and the fruit of our ancestors. In your eyes, I see the future and the marvelous possibilities of what can be. Within you are stories yet untold. And so, hey, black child, do you know who you are, who you really are? Black is not less than. Black is bold and black is beautiful. Black is synonymous with intelligence, respect, and honor of oneself. Black is as old as the universe itself, for when God created the universe, he brought forth light out of darkness because black was already there. Black is as deep as the depths of the seven seas and as bright as the sun at high noon in the sky. Black is as wide as the equator and as tall as Mount Kilimanjaro. Black did not start, beloved, with the slave trade. No, black is as old as Nubia, Cairo, and Luxor. Black is the Ashanti, the Zulu, and the Bobo. Black is the ancient kingdom of Kermit, Aksum, and Carthage. And so, hey, black child, do you know who you are, who you really are? Black is the literary greatness of Ralph Ellison, Alex Haley, Walter Mosley, Nikki Giovanni, and Sister Soldier. Black is the social protests of Ella Baker, Angela Davis, W.E.B. Du Bois, Medgar Evers, Marcus Garvey, Black Lives Matter, and yes, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Black is the music of Motown and Stax. It's Aretha Franklin's R.E.S.P.E.C.T. It's James Brown's Papa's Got a Brand New Bag. It's Miles Davis's Kind of Blue. It's John Coltrane's Love Supreme. It's Destiny's Child, I'm a Survivor. It's Duke Ellington's Take the A Train. It's John Legend's All of Me. It's Parliament Funkadelic's One Nation Under a Groove. And it's Gil Scott-Heron's The Revolution will not be televised. And so, hey, black child, do you know who you are, who you really are? Show me a George Washington and I'll show you a Crispus Attucks. Show me a Henry Wadsworth Longfellow and I'll show you a Paul Laurence Dunbar. Show me a William Lloyd Garrison and I'll show you a David Walker. Show me a Joan of Arc and I'll show you a Harriet Tubman. Show me a Abraham Lincoln and I'll show you a Frederick Douglass. Show me a Albert Einstein and I'll show you Elijah McCoy. Show me a Thomas Edison and I'll show you a Benjamin Banneker. Show me a Henry Ford and I'll show you a George Washington Carver. Show me a Theodore Roosevelt and I'll show you a Booker T. Washington. Show me a Dwight D. Eisenhower and I'll show you Adam Clayton Powell Jr. Show me a John Kennedy and I'll show you a Martin Luther King Jr. Show me Lyndon Baines Johnson and I'll show you Thurgood Marshall. Show me Jimmy Carter and I'll show you Andrew Young. Show me William Jefferson and Hillary Clinton and I'll show you Barack and Michelle Obama. And so, hey, black child, do you know who you are, who you really are? Listen, beloved, when I graduated from high school and entered Fisk University, I was on the verge of being a motherless child. My mother had just been diagnosed with an unfamiliar strand of cancer, and my older brother had just been murdered 3 short years prior. As a result of dealing with both grief and shock, my grades suffered, and I graduated high school with a cumulative GPA of 1.9. This is notwithstanding that the man standing before you, robed with crosses, has been incarcerated twice and was sent to alternative high school 3 times. But I graduated. When I arrived at Fisk, other students had fine clothes, and I wore only what my family could afford. Other students had spent their summers traveling the world, and I had spent mine working to save money to buy books. We all moved into the dormitories, and some students had fine leather couches for their rooms. Others had fine pieces of art, oriental rugs, customized curtains, and electronics of all kind. And there I stood, beloved, with the lowest accepted GPA in the entire incoming freshman class, but I was the happiest person on campus just to be there. I was privileged and humbled to finally prove to myself what my mother and grandmother had told me long ago, and that is that I had a brilliant mind if I would only use it. I quickly discovered, beloved, that I did not need a television to learn theology. I didn't need furniture to learn epistemology. I didn't need a fine car to learn sociology and anthropology. I learned that I didn't need designer clothes to remember the dates and details of human and church history. And so I decided to drape my room with what I had. I draped my windows with praise. I covered my walls with faith. I carpeted my floor with prayer. I filled every corner with thanksgiving. I padded my desk with hard work, and I leaned back in the recliner chair of God's grace and mercy. And I found out that where I was expected to drop out, punch out, burn out, and get kicked out, I instead walked out with my degree in my hand and with honors on it. And so, beloved, as I leave you here now, I stand here today, 28 years old, as we celebrate the legacy of Dr. King, to tell you, if there's a life, you can live it. If there's a job, you can do it. If there's a need, you can match it. If there's a challenge, you can face it. If there's a sickness, you can heal it. If there's a barrier, you can break it. If there's a class, you can teach it. If there's a book, you can write it. If there's a sport, you can play it. If there's a game, you can win it. If there's a business, you can build it. If there's a gospel, you can preach it. If there's a song, you can sing it. If there's a White House, you can live there. If there's a hell, you can miss it. If there's a heaven, you can reach it. And if there's a crown, you can wear it. And so, hey, black child, do you know who you are, who you really are? Do you know you can be what you want to be if you try to be what you can be? Hey, black child, do you know where you are going, where you are really going? Do you know you can learn what you want to learn if you try to learn what you can learn? Hey, black child, do you know you are strong? I mean really strong. Do you know you can do what you want to do if we all try to do what we can do? Hey, black child, be what you want to be. Learn what you must learn. Do what you can do. And tomorrow, your nation will be what you want it to be. Ashe and amen.
gates to the heavens. No man's no weapon formed against, yes, glorious destined. Everyday woman and man become legends. Sins that go against our skin become blessings. The movement is a rhythm to us. Freedom is like religion to us. Justice is just in positioning us. Justice for all just ain't specific enough. One son died, his spirit was revisiting in us. Truer living in us. Resisting is us. That was Rosa Parks on the bus. That's why we walking through Ferguson with our hands up. And when it went down, we woman and man up. They say stand down, and we stand up. Shots, we on the ground, the camera panned up. King pointed to the mountain top, we ran up.
One day, when the glory comes, it'll be yours, it'll be yours. Oh, one day, when the war is won, we will be sure, we will be sure. Oh, glory, glory, glory. Oh, glory, glory.
And now the war is not over. Victory isn't won. And we'll fight on to the finish. And when it's all said and done, we'll find glory. Oh, glory. Oh, glory. Glory. Oh, we'll find glory. Oh, glory.
Summer is now for every man, woman, and child. Even Jesus got his crown right in front of the crowd. They march with the torch, we gon' run with it now. Never looking back, we done gone hundreds of miles. From dark roads, heroes, to become a hero. Facing the League of Justice, his power was the people. Enemy is legal, a king became regal. Saw the face of Jim Crow under a bald ego. Our biggest weapon is to stay peaceful. We sing, our music is the cuts that we bleed through. Somewhere down the dream we had an epiphany. And now we righting the wrongs in history. No one can win the war individually. It takes the wisdom of the elders and the young people's energy. Welcome to the story we call victory. Welcome to the Lord, my eyes have seen the glory.
When the glory comes, it'll be yours, it'll be yours. Ooh, one day, when the war is won, we will be sure, we will be sure. Ooh, glory, 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 glory. Glory, glory, glory,
All right, all right. How about that? How about that? What a treat. How about one more round of applause for all of our amazing musical guests. I'd also like one more round of applause for Reverend Winterbourne Harrison Jones and that amazing speech. And I will say this is the last time I will attempt to share a stage with two religious leaders. All right, now we got to move along here. Something I've really been looking forward to, introducing a remarkable woman who I'm proud to call a friend. This woman now leads this great school and hails from a fine, long lineage of dozens of Attucks graduates whose faces proudly dot these walls. I dare say I've studied this school as much as anyone, and I wholly believe that Principal Lauren Franklin is the perfect person to restore the greatness, to restore the spirit that lifted up not only individuals, but a collective, a community, and a city. So if I could please welcome Principal Lauren Frank.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We know that Dr. King was a remarkably profound man, and he left us with many statements and words to ponder. When I was asked to speak this morning, I found it incredibly difficult to choose just one of his quotes, so I'll share just a few. The first, Dr. Farabee referenced earlier. Life's most urgent question is, what are you doing for others? The second quote, those who are not looking for happiness are the most likely to find it, because those who are searching forget that the surest way to be happy is to seek happiness for others. And lastly, a productive and happy life is not something you find, it is something you make. We all want to be happy, and oftentimes we get caught up in our pursuit of the things we think will make us happy. However, Dr. King knew the secret to happiness, and he was thoughtful enough to share it with us. It's by helping and doing for others. Young people, happiness is not gained through the latest phone, the newest and hottest pair of shoes, or the cutest pink outfit that y'all like to wear. These things are all temporary, but the joy you receive when you help someone else is lasting, and it can never be taken away from you. What are you doing for others? As you make plans for the long weekend ahead, build in time to assist someone else. We have freezing rain this weekend. Salt someone's driveway. Volunteer at a food pantry. Clean out your closet and donate clothes to Goodwill or Salvation Army. The list is endless, but I know you get the idea. As I take my seat and as you go back to your classes, think about the question, what can you do for others? Thank you.
Well, I don't know how we did it, but we always outdo the year before, and we have certainly done it this year. Please give everyone a great hand. Sincere appreciation to everyone on the program, and in particular, Anne Marie Byers, because I couldn't do it without her. I see Dr. LeGrand sitting over there also. Thanks to the planning committee, Ted Green, all of our speakers, you've outdone yourselves. Now please stand so we can end our program with Lift Every Voice and Sing.